Good morning, good morning. You are listening to KSFS Radio San Francisco. KSFS is proudly brought to you by the Department of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts at San Francisco State University, some rights reserved under the Creative Commons license. Okay, ciao, buongiorno, good morning, you guys. I am back. This is your host, Alex Piscatelli, and you are listening to Grief Support Group. I was not here last week because I was in Roma, Italia. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry about it. But I am back this week and I have a 2-hour live radio show here. So I have a lot to say. Okay, but I actually have a lot of music prepared. Typically what happens if you are listening to the live show and not the recording after is I have my hour slot, right? And I end up just talking and talking and talking, and I don't stop. I can't stop. And then I end up playing like 2 songs. But today I actually have quite a lot of songs that I want to play and to get to. So I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait. I'm excited. Okay, I guess I should say also, welcome to Grief Support Group. We are here, and this is the show where I talk all things pop culture, my research on grief and media, and I answer your advice questions. Yes. So if you have any advice questions to ask, you can do so at any time, and I may answer them in a future show. I've been able to answer most of the advice questions I've gotten, which is great. But you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, so it's going to be a really good show today. I'm going to do a little Italia recap, and we're going to get into that, and it's going to be really fun. I have plenty to say about the food and about jet lag and about customs confiscating some of our food. So it's going to be great. And then I will get into a thesis update. It's actually a good one this time, which is really exciting. And then I want to talk about a little bit of grief and media, right? So today I'm going to be talking about Moonstruck. Yes, it is on par with the Italia theme. We will get into that. And then today, because it is a longer show, it is our Italia and our holiday special. Today I have 3 advice questions to answer, not just 2. It's a mega episode, so I have 3. One of them is going to be about where to make friends as a 20-something, how to not let trauma from a past relationship affect a new one, and then how to address past trauma if a parent is the one who caused it and they deny that they did so. So it's going to be a grand packed show. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. But first and foremost, we must get into Italia, okay? Because the truth of the matter is I'm different. You're listening to a new me, a new grief support group. Like, I have been changed for the good. I did also see Wicked, but I fell asleep, so I can't fully. The thing is, okay, sorry, I'm gonna go on a tangent. It's just how it goes. So I guess this is relevant because jet lag is real. I can confirm. I didn't know if it was before because I had never experienced it. And the thing is, I get very sleepy just in my normal everyday life. I love a nap. I love sleeping in. I love a 2 nap. I love a 3 nap. I could nap multiple times a day, I think, if given the opportunity. And actually, this is why I love like lounging by a pool, because you nap, but you don't call it a nap. Anyway, so I saw Wicked for good the other day, and like I heard mixed reviews about it. Like I felt like a lot of people whose opinions I trust said it was good. So I was like, oh, it's going to be good. It'll be great. And it's not that I like plan to fall asleep, but the jet lag is hitting me so hard. And so I ended up falling asleep, I think at a very critical time. I swear this might be spoilers, I guess, a little. It doesn't feel like a spoiler because I don't even know why these moments occurred. But I fell asleep when like all the animals were released, and then I woke up when Dorothy started on the yellow brick road. So like it felt like, oh wait, like what's happening? You know, like I woke up and I was confused for the whole rest of the movie. I don't know. And the thing is that, so I went and saw it with my husband Jack and my best friend Megan, right? And after, I was like, okay, what did I miss? Because this is like what I remember, and then this is when I woke up. And they said that Elphaba and, oh man, I'm forgetting his name, the Scarecrow, who ends up being the Scarecrow. Again, I'm so sorry if this is a spoiler, but I saw this on Twitter like last year, so I feel like it's fine if I say it. But they ended up hooking up, and then And then they told me that like they said something like, oh, I feel truly wicked or something. And I was like, I was like, wait, are you joking? Like, I thought they were pranking me. I still don't know if they're pranking me or if that was true. Anyway, sorry, this isn't about Wicked. It was fine. I liked the first one better. But anyway, okay, so jet lag is real. I've been napping. Yesterday, actually, I was working on my PhD applications because I procrastinate way too long. It's literally due next week. But I was working on my personal statements, and like all day I was like trying to focus, but it was so hard to do so. And then I am like, okay, let me like take a break from my screen. This is 3 p.m. I say, I've written like one sentence, truly. And I said, let me take a break. I've done what I needed to do so far. Let me take a break away from screen. So I lay on the couch, right? I turn on another screen. It's the television screen. I put on that new HBO Rachel Sennett show, I Love LA. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I don't like it that much, but they say it's like for a specific audience. I feel like I'm supposed to be that specific audience, but alas. So I put it on and then I fall asleep, and like I'm like, it's fine. Like I set a timer so I would only sleep 12 minutes. It's this thing I do. I feel like, did y'all do this in like undergrad and stuff where you were like, okay, it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. I am working on this assignment. Let me take a 12-minute nap and then I'll wake up and it'll be great. And then you end up sleeping till 10 a.m. Yeah, this was that version of that. I still do that constantly. So I did that, put on my 12-minute timer. I ended up sleeping 5 hours. So I don't know, jet lag is real and we're here. But it was my first time flying international. It was my first time doing a big international trip. So it was so sick. Actually, so we flew on, I don't know, like almost 2 weeks ago on the Thursday. And we sat in the very last row, okay? Like very last row. But it was not a very full flight. So it felt like first class. Like I got my first meal on a flight. It was so sick. It was so delish. And like we got to stretch out. So I got to lay across 3 seats because there was no one in the back of the plane. So it really felt like a first class experience, which was really cool. We land, like, I feel like we immediately nap. I don't even remember. But then... Okay, so I wanted to talk about some of my favorite food dishes, and the truth of the matter is the first night the dish we got was my favorite of the whole trip, and actually I would argue one of my top 3 favorite dishes of my life. So I didn't realize how prevalent artichoke was in Italy, or I don't know if it's just in Rome. I don't know where specifically in Italy, but there's a lot of artichokes, I think because they're like so cheap there or whatever it is, which is great for me because I love an artichoke. Okay, let me be clear. If we're talking about individual food items, artichoke is in my top 10, certainly top 10, probably top 5. I love an artichoke. It's so I've grown up always eating artichokes. I love artichokes. Okay, so artichoke in Italian is carciofi, right? So we get this dish on the first night. Well, actually, Jack ordered it and I ordered just like a meat sauce. But we ended up trading plates. And know what's funny? Because we tried each other's plates. I guess I should say the dish first. So it was a rigatoni with carciofi and guanciale. Guanciale I had not heard of before this trip. It is like pork cheek or pork jowl, or jowl and cheek, the same thing. I don't know. It's pork something of the matter. And it's called guanciale, and it's like a cured meat, and it's so salty and fatty, and oh my god, it's so delicious. So the plate that Jack got was a rigatoni with carciofi and guanciale. And then I just got like a red sauce type of situation. So I'm eating my red sauce, and it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It was good. And Jack had his meal, and we were like, okay, let's switch plates to try each other's. And oh my god, I took a bite of the rigatoni with the carciofi and the guanciale, and oh my god, I was like, this is so good, but I couldn't hype it up too much because I didn't want him to ask for his plate back. So I was trying to downplay it. I was like, oh, this is really good. No, this is really good. Which I think is like making it like major, but like when I think something's so good, like I'm like, oh my god, like I can't stop talking about it. So I was like, oh, this is really good. And then he didn't ask to switch plates for like a few minutes. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then I think either maybe I said like, oh, which do you like better? Or like, what's the vibe? And he was like, oh, I like this one better. Like the meat sauce, the red sauce. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, wait, I feel like I just got away with the scam of the century because I thought you were going to want to switch plates back. Like, this is perfect. And so then I got to talk nonstop about how good that plate was. But that one was so good. And we really wanted to return to that restaurant, but they were not open during lunch, and we ended up going back to a different restaurant that we loved. But that plate, number one, so good. So what I loved too is because there was like maybe 2 or 3 restaurants that we had that were not that good. And I'm so glad we started off strong because the best places we had were ones that were recommended to us from someone working at our hotel, which I'm so, yeah, like that's the answer, because I think anywhere someone here told me to go, like, no offense to anyone who recommended things to me here, but like all your recommendations were not my favorite. Like I did not like them as much as the recommendations that I got from like the people living there. Oh my God, it was so good. But anyway, so because of that, because of having such an excellent first dish, I ordered guanciale every moment I saw. Okay. Guanciale is on the menu. I'm saying it. Okay. It was so good. And we ended up trying to let me say this. We took guanciale home with us, okay? Because it's a cured meat. You can get it like vacuum sealed. We bought some and we took it in our checked bag. So we got back to SFO and we're in customs or whatever at SFO. And the guy is like, welcome back. And we're like, thank you. And then he's asking us like what we have in our bag. Do you have produce? No. Do you have wine? Yeah. Do you have cheese? Yes. Do you have meat? Yes. And then he puts our passports in a like if you're like at Target trying to buy like Animal Crossing, like one of those plastic situations, okay? And then because we had it in a plastic like jail, we had to go through another like suitcase checkpoint. So we go and we put our luggage through it, and then they're questioning us about the meat. So we pull it out. And they're like, the guy working was like, so you can't like take meat with you. And we said, oh, okay. Like we didn't know, like it's a cured meat. Is that okay? And he's like, no, you can't fly into the US with any meat. He goes, but I'll let you get away with it this time. And we were like, this time, like, were you going to arrest us? Like, what's the vibe if you bring guanciale into the US? I had no idea. I mean, I've never flown international. I had no idea. So we're upset about them losing the guanciale, but like, whatever, like, it's fine. And then like, we start walking away and Jacques is like, wait, I don't have my passport. And I was like, oh, okay, wait, what? Like, what do you mean you don't have your passport? So we had to walk all the way back to like the person who took our guanciale. And he was like, they were all trying to blame me for not having Jack's passport. I said, no one handed it to me. I have my passport. I don't have his passport because why would I have his? No one handed it to me. They handed it. I don't know what happened to it. And so they were like, oh, check your bag. And so, by the way, we're talking to 3 people in customs and they're all telling me to check my bag. I said, okay. So I open my bag and I pull out my passport because that's the one that I have. They go, there it is. I said, this is my passport. No one handed me his passport. So anyway, the guy who took our guanciale ended up putting a passport and then a little like flyer that said don't bring meat into the US into our checked luggage in the bottom of it. Who would have known? Anyway, so that was a whole experience. I'm getting into the negative stories and not the fun ones. Okay, now I have a little checklist of all the things I want to share. Second of all, well, that's like fifth of all, I have a story about a very delicious other meat. I should preface this. I love the guanciale and I love this other meat called pancetta. I am not a meat person. Like, ask anyone. I'm not out here being like, oh, I crave a steak, you know, well, sometimes, but I'm not really, it's more, I crave the A1 sauce. Like, if you give me A1 sauce with like a mushroom, like I'm fine. I don't really need the steak. The steak is the vehicle for the A1 sauce. Regardless, I'm not a meat person, but guanciale, first of all, yes. Second of all, there's this meat called pancetta, and I don't know if I've ever had it before. So I guess here in the US, it's often in pasta dishes. But what I had it in is Jack and I went to this incredible charcuterie. Oh my God, it was so good. It was like this like meat place, and we had a huge charcuterie board. When I tell you, it was like 20 euros. It was the biggest charcuterie board I've ever seen. Like here in San Francisco, that would have been $100. And I'm not even joking you. It was huge and it was so delicious. And there was this one meat in particular that, once again, I was like, this one is so good. This one's my favorite. And Jack said that wasn't even his favorite. And I said, then I win. I get more of that one. And it was so good, like so delicious. It was like a pork, but I couldn't figure out what. It kind of tasted like a little bit, like it tasted a little bit bacony, but like very like salty and just fatty and so, oh my God, I'm like, my mouth is watering really bad thinking about it. It was so good. And we asked afterward, what meat was that? Like, it was so good. They said pancetta, so my dad always told me this story, in which he was at a family friend's house and they had this thinly sliced meat out and he kept eating it. And then there was like one left and he looked around and no one was taking it. So then he took it. And then everyone got mad at him for eating all of it, and especially for taking the last slice, right? And not being like polite and leaving it there. So, he always had this story, and I had always wondered, like, what meat is it? What meat is it? I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't remember what it was, from his story. And like my mom and sister don't eat meat, so like I couldn't ask them, you know what I mean? So I realized when they told us, oh, that was pancetta, I was like, that's the meat. No, that's the one that he had. So I felt, in Italy in general, I felt like very connected to my family. But I think eating that specifically, I was like, that's so funny. Like me and my dad are the same. Like, and it's so funny that I can have these new almost memories with him in a way, that come up. So that was amazing. Pancetta, 10 out of 10, recommend. But we just got some from Trader Joe's because we're trying to recreate, because we don't have our guanciale anymore. So they sell pancetta at Trader Joe's, like in little cubes that you can put in pasta. Not the same. Don't trust it. Okay. Other stories I want to share. One of my favorite moments being in Italy was, well, shopping, you know what I mean? And I wasn't like, because I was not trying to spend, well, we spend a lot of money on food, but I was like not trying to spend like a ton of money. Like, I'm a grad student, okay? Like, I'm not rolling in it. But we went to, my husband really wanted like a dress shirt and a dress jacket, because he is an on-air reporter. So he was like, okay, I want like a new thing in my rotation. So we were just like walking this neighborhood. And we walk in like a men's like sport coat or sport jacket or whatever store. So we walk in and it's this like Italian man working, and he's like, him and Jack are talking, and he's like having Jack try on all these jackets like over and over and over again and putting them on him, trying to get like the correct fit for him. And then it was just so fun to watch. Like I was just watching him put on jackets on him over and over and over and over. And finally we found the right fit. It was like the perfect fit once we got to the right one. And it was the perfect, like exact kind of material and color. Like it was perfect. So it was like Cinderella's shoe, right? And then Jack is like, oh, I don't know how, you could see like leather jackets hanging. And I forget if I literally just said this, but like I really wanted, so I have a leather jacket that I wear all the time, but I like thrifted it and it's like very oversized. And like when I was living on the East Coast, like I was like layering a lot when it was cold. So like I liked having the way oversized fit back then, but like now I just feel like it just looks off. Like I don't love it on me. Like it fits Jack really well actually. Like anytime he wears it, he gets compliments. Anytime I wear it, no one says a thing, okay? So I had wanted a new leather jacket, but again, I wasn't like thinking of it. I wasn't like gonna seek it out. So Jack he's like, oh, I see those leather jackets hanging. I don't know how much they're going to be, but like we try it on just for fun. So we try on one and it was cute. It was fine. Then there's a second one we try on. So Jack tries it on first. I'm like, yeah, it looks good on you. I try it on. Okay. yeah, no, I'm like, I'm obsessed with it. But again, I didn't want to spend money. I was like, I don't know, is this one too similar to the one I already have, in the sense that like it's a men's size, like it's a little oversized, like is this exactly what I want? But then like, I don't know if anyone else does this thing. I want to see how I'm gonna look like if I'm not the one looking, because like when I look in a mirror, I think I look really good all the time, and then like you see a phone photo of yourself and you're like, okay, like what's the truth here? So I wanted to see how it translated into like a phone photo, like perhaps another person's eye. So I had Jack take photos of me in this jacket. Meanwhile, the Italian man is like, I don't think he's watching us. I think he's just smiling. But Jack's taking photos of me in the jacket. I look at the photos and I'm like, okay, so the truth is, oh my God, it looks so good even in these photos. So I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. Then the Italian man goes, oh, if you get the sport coat and you get the leather jacket, I'll give you a deal. I'll give you I don't even remember the price. Jack paid for it. I didn't. But anyway, so it ended up being like 50 euros off a price off of the leather jacket, because Jack was already going to get the sport coat. So he gave us like a 50 euro off deal. And so we got it. And the truth of the matter is I have been wearing that leather jacket every single day since we got it, and I'm obsessed with it, and I would be wearing it right now, but it's a little warm in the studio. No, but it's part of me. Like, you don't even understand that leather jacket is a part of me. And Jack keeps saying, oh, it's our jacket. Like, if I ever want to wear it one day, like I would like to wear it. And I'm like, yeah, no, for sure. But like, if I'm gonna wear it though, I get priority. And so Jack says, like, I can't say I want to wear it after he says he wants to wear it. We'll see. Okay. Next story. So there are one of our favorite things we did. So I forget if I said this, but the neighborhood we stayed in was incredible. And it was like not a super touristy area. The neighborhood was called Appio Latino, and it was like maybe a 12-15 minute walk from the Coliseum, like southeast of the Coliseum. Incredible neighborhood, all of our favorite food places and our favorite coffee shops and our favorite everything was in this area. And so there was like a little market there that was open like mornings through like a 12:30 or 1 p.m. And so we went and we walked around and we did this on our last day. We had a very chill last day, which actually ended up being our favorite day. Very chill last day. And we walk into this market and there's a little there's a little pet store. And so we walk in and we're like, oh yeah, like Dory, like maybe we should get her something. Our cat Dory. And so we walk in and immediately the guy working there starts talking to us, and like he doesn't speak a lot of English and we don't speak a lot of Italian, but he immediately was like, where are you from? And we said, and his daughter like lives or visited or I don't know, or met someone who's from California or something like that. So we were talking to him about that. And then he ended up giving us free food for Dory. And because he gave us that, I was like, well, we had to buy something. So then we bought her like little like star toys, like it felt almost Christmassy little toys. And then he ended up giving us a calendar. Very nice, very friendly. And I loved it. I loved talking to him. And he was like, next time you have to talk more Italian to me, because he was talking more English to us. And every time he said something in Italian, he looked at me as if I'm supposed to know like Italian, which the truth of the matter is I really want to learn Italian. Like I feel like it's really important to me. To like connect with my ancestors and stuff, and I want to come back to Italy so many times in my life. I really would like to. It was so amazing. But anyway, that was like such a cool, I don't know, it was so fun. And then we gave Dory one of the food yesterday or the day before. All my days are getting confused. And it was like a beef jerky stick. Like we call it her chomp, you know what I mean? Like the chomp, not beef jerky, little sticks. I don't know, whatever. Jack eats those, not me. Okay. And then also in that market, there was this place called Nonna Pia. Mind you, my sister's name is Pia. So we were like, oh my God, we have to stop here. They had the most incredible, it was so delicious. It was like a little bakery situation with like a lot of different like sandwiches and little things. But they had this chocolate ricotta cheesecake and it was so delicious. Best thing I've ever had. Oh my God, I loved it so much. Okay, I feel like I have a lot more stories. It's already we're already 30 minutes in, but that's okay. You know what? That's okay. We have a 2-hour show. Okay. a few more stories I want to share. Like I said, the touristy things were not our favorites, but like the Colosseum, maybe because like it was November, so it wasn't as crowded as I imagine it would be during the summer, but the Colosseum is so worth it. We did like a 3-hour tour that went underground. Oh my God, it was so incredible. And it was so fun too, because like everyone on our tour, it was a very small tour. There were only 10 of us. So everyone ended up talking. And it was so fun. It was just a good vibe. Like it was us, and then there were 2 other couples that were also American, and one of the couples was from LA and the other was New York, I think. And then the rest of the 4 people were from the UK, and then our tour guide was like born and raised in Rome. And so that was really cool. And so it was just like really fun. And again, a 3-hour tour, which was insane. And there was this moment near the end where we had to like hike up like a bunch of stairs, to go see like the best view of the Colosseum is what they say, which I feel like the whole thing, like from all angles, looked cool. But we hiked up all these stairs, and the tour guide was like, does anyone want to like take the elevator? There is an elevator. It's just like over there. Does anyone want to take it? No one wanted to take it. Mind you, that couple from New York, they were like, so I know this because they said it. They were 79. And it was a man and a woman. The man was like silent because he was about to take the stairs. And the woman goes, we're 79. We should take the elevator. And so they went and took the elevator. But I loved it. It was so fun. I feel like the best part of traveling, which like people have told me, but it's just like talking to people. Like even though they were like from America, I could potentially meet them in New York, maybe, I don't know. But like it's like so fun to just talk to random people. Anyway, speaking of talking, another person we met who we ended up going back a second time to get more drinks at this place, but it was this guy, shout out to Davide, who works at some place in our neighborhood. But we went there for wine, and we were talking to him for a long time, and it was really cool because he was born and raised in southern Italy and then moved to Rome because he was becoming an actor, and he had just visited the United States for the first time. So he literally like a week before our trip had taken a trip to New York, which I thought was so like fun. I don't know, like I thought that was cool that was his first trip and this was like my first trip like to United States and Italy and vice versa. But we loved it. Like we literally loved visiting him. Me and Jack talk about Davide all the time. Like I loved it. Okay, I guess I have nothing more to share about Davide besides that. Okay, finally, I put a note because it was so like crazy, is that like, so our flight left, I don't know, we had to leave our hotel at like 5 a.m. for our flight home. And so we get a taxi, that our like hotel like called for us or whatever. So we're like in the back seat. It's 5 a.m. like jet lag. Like I'm tired, but like I'm kind of awake because like jet lag, like I had been waking up at weird hours. And I'm looking, and our taxi driver is texting, okay? And what are you supposed to say? Like in the United States, like I don't know what to say if someone would be texting, but like in Italy, how do I say like, please don't text, I don't want to die, like in Italian to our taxi driver, right? And I'm like looking at his text because it's like displayed on like the top of like his car, and he's like texting buongiorno smiley face. I'm like, literally, what's going on? And then Jack told me he had 2 phones too. I didn't realize that. I'm like, thank God I only saw the one. But anyway, so I really didn't want to die from a buongiorno text, but we made it. We're good. I hope someone can tell him in Italian, please don't text while driving. Okay, well, that is all of my Italian stories that I could think of in 5 minutes of taking notes real quick. I say 5 minutes and I've been talking for like 30 minutes. Okay, as a reminder, I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli. You are listening to Grief Support Group. So what we're going to do next is we're going to listen to some music. I'm actually going to take a like substantial, when I say substantial, I say like a few songs, but we're going to listen to some music, okay? And then I'm going to get into a thesis update, and I'm going to talk some grief and media, which will be Moonstruck today. And then we're going to get into our advice question. So we will be talking about how 20-somethings meet friends nowadays, how not to let past toxic relationships affect your new ones, and how to address past trauma if the parent who caused it denies that it ever happened. Okay, so we have a lot to get to, and it's going to be great. But first, let's listen to some music, and I will see you soon. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and you just listened to some wonderful music for my holiday/Italia playlist, right? So you listen to That's Amore, Ladies' Night, and Cadillac Song. Now, let's get back into the show. You are at the part where I do my thesis update, and there's been moments where it's been quite tragic, okay? I think last show, I was feeling really not good, like very lack of sleep, a little bit delirious, but you know what? We're in a good place. We're actually in a really good place. So yeah, I am basically doing final edits, and then I am defending my thesis next week, which is so wild. Or oh my god, I'm so sorry. Not my thesis proposal. So I'm like essentially halfway done with my thesis after I make some edits today. But yeah, I put in my notes thesis is. So I always do the thesis is ... and then I write down how I feel. And I wrote thesis is ... all caps. Good, actually, LMAO. So yeah, we're in a good place with it. It's really quite great. And as a reminder for those who aren't looking at it every single day like I am, my thesis is examining how teen drama fans understand and interpret grief. So what I'm going to be doing for this, so essentially your proposal, I actually don't know how much I've said this, your proposal is sort of your, like, asking your research questions. You are like telling the story of the research that kind of led to your research question. So you're looking at past research, past literature, you're doing a literature review. And then you are in depth discussing like the method you're going to be using and like what theory or framework is driving your work. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I am doing interviews, in-depth interviews as my method. So I'm going to be like finding teen drama fans in online spaces. So I'm kind of like at the point where basically if you work with human subjects in any capacity, you have to go through like a whole, like a board, like has to like approve what you're doing and like will give their feedback and stuff. So I have to go through that whole process once I defend my proposal next week. And I'm like stressed, like I really hope that goes well. And then once everything gets approved, like I'm really hoping it is not too difficult to find people who are willing to be interviewed. I think the online spaces, like I am in for example, Facebook group for The Summer I Turned Pretty. I joined it because it was just popping up on my Facebook feed, and they are very active on there. So I'm really hoping in these online spaces I'm able to find people who want to partake in interviews and be part of research, right? I think it's a cool thing, so I'm really hoping people are down for it. But yeah, I think it's like now that it's coming together and I'm past the stress of like, oh my god, what am I supposed to say? I'm kind of getting in the stress of like, oh my god, am I going to be able to pull this off and like graduate? I'm graduating first and foremost, like that it is going to happen. It's just how hard is it going to be to get there? And yeah, will I be able to make it work and do research? Oh my god, I'm so excited. Because like my past research, I've only worked on one other research project, and it was over the summer. Again, I don't think I talked about it on my show before, but I worked with my mentor from undergrad, shout out to Dr. Nate, and we looked at streaming romantic comedies and how they portrayed grief when grief was a part of them. So To All the Boys I Loved Before, Always Be My Maybe, and Love Hard, which, by the way, Love Hard is such an excellent holiday movie, and I will be watching that this week, I believe. I say it like it's like an intense plan, like, oh, I believe, like, we'll see, where I can literally just put it on when I have my coffee when I get home. But anyway, so that was a textual analysis of the media itself, right? Of the text itself. So there wasn't like human subjects to rely on. So it felt a lot more straightforward and doable in my head. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about working with human subjects, but I'm excited for it because I would love to conduct interviews as a researcher. I think it'll be really cool. And I hope it's a methodology that I can use in my research career moving forward. So I'm super excited. Okay. I'm going to talk about Moonstruck, because I want to do my little grief and media segment. But before I get to that, I had teased at the beginning of this show how I was writing my personal statements for my PhD program. And it's so funny because it actually turned out really well, which I wasn't expecting. Again, I saved this for last minute, which is so me in a way that like is not good. But I wanted to share a little bit about my personal statements just because, so I showed them to Jack last night. He goes, "That's one of your best writings I've ever read." And so I was like, wait, really? I was like, so what did you like about it? Like, what were your top 3 moments? Like, I feel like I need to understand because I can tell when I like something of my writing, and I can tell when I'm like unsure about it. And I was a little unsure about this just in the sense that like, obviously this is like a huge deciding factor if I'm a fit for these programs that I'm applying for. But regardless, I wanted to share a little bit about it because it's really just, I don't know, it's so interesting. It's like the culmination. So essentially, what you have to do, and like it's different for each like school you're applying for, and I'm applying for 2 different schools. But like one I was looking at is kind of this personal statement is expression of 3 areas: research experience, professional background, and conceptual questions and phenomena of interest to you, right? So like you're talking about like kind of what brought you to where you currently are and when you're applying, and like what you want to explore moving forward, right? So obviously I'm particularly interested in grief and media, in grief and popular culture, and it was just interesting because I was writing it, and I think like there are so many times in which I don't know, like I guess in like, because I have a journalism background, right? Like, I guess I often see from the type of journalism I'm interested in, right? Like, because like I used to want to be a talk show host, and like whatever, you could argue if that's journalism or not. It's entertainment, but I think a lot of these talk show hosts come from, I guess, either comedy or journalism backgrounds, right? But like I'm particularly interested in like that formation of like, I don't know, your own personal touch as a host, like the like personality you're bringing into it. And I really like journalists who have that own like unique perspective, and they're very voicey, right? Like you can read their writing and you know like, oh, da-da-da wrote this, right? And so I feel like I really struggled because, and I still struggle, right? Because I entered academia, I mean, really last year. Like in my undergrad program, like I didn't do research for it. I had never really read research articles until last August when I joined this program. My parents were like, did not go to graduate school. Like they graduated college, but they were the first of their family, right? Like it's not like reading academic, like writing was like something I did growing up, something I ever did until last year. So the things that shaped me weren't this like desire to do academia. It was sort of like the personal experience and just my lifelong love for media. So I don't know, I wrote this down, like I wrote about how like my childhood was really shaped through the media I consumed, right? Like I wrote like recording the final 6 episodes of Friends on VHS, bonding with friends over High School Musical and our love for Zac Efron, seeing Hairspray with my dad in theaters 7 times and listening to soundtrack on repeat with my mom, weekly Survivor nights with my parents and sister, connecting with others in online spaces such as Neopets and later Tumblr. Media helped me understand myself and my place in the world around me and gave me an avenue to connect with the people around me. And then I talk about that when I lost my dad, like I tried to make sense of this loss through media and like use media to understand it, but then also like talk about it with others, but there wasn't really media that was doing that. And then when my mom died, you know, there was more media that was doing that, and my friends were actually talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty or Never Have I Ever. So I was able to talk about grief more easily with the people around me. I don't know. So I just find it particularly interesting. Like it was really cool to do this sort of like reflection of who I am and why I'm interested in the things I'm interested in. I don't know. So I guess we'll have updates about this application next week because it's literally due in a week. But yeah, I guess it felt good to get all that on paper, and I wanted to share that with you all. Okay, let's get into Moonstruck now, though, because this is like the quintessential Italian American movie, and my family all loves it, right? But I had never seen it. I think I had seen bits and pieces here and there, but I had never actually sat down and watched the whole thing. And our last day in Italy, we were just in the afternoon, like wanting to rest for a bit. And so we were like, let's watch a movie. And we put on Moonstruck. Okay, so you know how I say, like, for grief support group for the show you're listening to, I say, like, send me advice questions about love, life, death, grief. Like, I feel like those 4 themes are something that in the work I do, the creative work, the research work, whatever it is, like, those are the things I'm really interested in. I think they all go hand in hand. Like, love is grief, right? Or grief is love. Life and death obviously are one and the same and are the same. And so I had no idea that Moonstruck was so about death and grief. Like, if I look at what it's about, like reading it right here, so this is from Google. I guess I don't know where this like description is pulled from, but no sooner does Italian American widow Loretta Sher accept a marriage proposal from her doltish boyfriend, I don't know what that word is, Johnny, then she finds herself falling for his younger brother Ronnie, Nicolas Cage. And it says she tries to resist, but Ronnie lost his hand in an accident he blames on his brother and has no scruples, I have not heard some of these words, oh my god, Google, about aggressively pursuing her while Johnny is out of the country. As Loretta falls deeper in love, she comes to learn she's not the only one in her family with a secret romance. So it's just so about love and life, but I love that immediately, that 5th word right there. The 4th word is she's Italian American, right? Like, that's a huge part of the story. But that 5th word right there, widow, like I had no idea it was a movie about this person who had experienced the death of her husband, and she talks about it, and she talks about kind of this bad luck that she's had, and he died when she was like in her early 30s, and she's like in her late 30s now, and she's like, I don't want anything to go wrong. Like, she was gonna marry this guy Johnny, and she was like, we have to have a wedding. If we don't have a wedding and we don't have this proper thing, like, it's going to be bad luck, and I don't want to have bad luck. And this grief and this death really shaped how she treats everything moving forward. It was just so great, and it just felt so I loved watching it in Italy. I loved feeling connected to like my family by watching it. I just loved everything about it. Let me tell you, it shot up in my Letterboxd top 4. Okay. I redid that. I redid it. Moonstruck is now my number 2 movie right after Clue. I loved Moonstruck. I thought it was amazing. I think it's a Christmas movie as well, so I'm sure I will be rewatching it in the coming weeks. The truth of the matter is that when I love a movie, I'm going to be rewatching it, okay? As mentioned, me and my dad watched Hairspray in theater 7 times. I'm unafraid to watch something ad nauseum, okay? But I just loved it. I thought it was so good. I thought it was so funny. I loved that one particular moment when Johnny is in the airplane because he's going to visit his dying mother. Again, just so much like conversation about death and grief throughout this movie, which I loved. It was so unafraid to sort of go there and to talk about that. Like, it didn't shy away from these themes. Even if like the mom didn't end up dying or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Like, it still talked about them and still kind of explored that. But there was this moment where she's like watching the plane leave. She's standing with this older woman, and the older woman goes, who do you know on that plane? And she was like, oh, my fiance's on there. And the older woman goes, well, I'd curse that plane. And they're just talking, and Cher's like, I don't believe in that, but whatever. And then the older woman was like, oh, neither do I. I don't know. I just loved it. I thought it was so fun. So like, if you need your movie rec for the week, go watch Moonstruck. I think that's the thing you should be doing. Okay, this has been Grief Support Group. I'm not done, by the way. I still have a whole other hour. I said that as if I was done. So we're going to listen to some more music, but coming down the pike, what we have next is we have advice questions. And again, this is our Italia and holiday special. So we have 3 whole advice questions to get to. We're going to talk about how 20-somethings make friends, and then we're going to talk about trauma, whether it's from relationships or from parents. So we will be getting into that. First, let's get into our song break. I'll see you soon. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli. You just listened to some really great songs. Volare, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, and When You're Smiling. We are now in the time of our show in our Italia and holiday special where we get into our advice questions. So like I said, it's a jam-packed show. We have 3 advice questions for y'all today. And if you want to ask any advice for a future show, what you can do is you can submit anonymously at bit.ly/KSFS advice. And I may answer it on a future show. Ask me anything, love, life, death, grief. Hopefully we will get to it. But today we're going to start with one about friendship. So I guess about love in life, right? So this person asked, where do 20-somethings meet in person nowadays? It's hard to make friends or relationships happen outside of school or work. Okay. So I think that's a really good question. And I think, yeah, it's hard. But you say nowadays, I feel like it's low-key always been this way. Like, I feel like when you think of anyone ever at any point in life, or I guess you might be talking about being in your 20s, but I was going to say, like, I feel like people have always kind of primarily met through school and work. Like, if you think of, like, older relatives or whatever, like, all their friends are people from school, right? And I feel like it's very real. I mean, you may live in a new place, and that may be why you're asking this, but, like, I feel like don't be afraid to keep hanging out with the people you love because they are your friends. And I think it's great to like kind of expand and bring friend groups together. That being said, what I'm going to say, you may have asked this because you may have moved or maybe you had falling out with friends or whatever. But I really think the number one strategy outside of school or work is friends of friends. I'm telling you, it is the number one strategy. Like when I think of any of the friends I have, unless like I met them from school or work, I met them from like the friends I made at school or work, I'm pretty sure. Or like if you do a hobby, which I'll get into. But I think friends of a friends are a huge strategy. And I think everyone is at this stage. I mean, maybe not everyone, but like I think most people, I talk about this on the show a lot, where community is like the number one like North Star thing we're all like aiming for and thinking about and wanting is community, right? And so I think it's really important to like bring friends together and to introduce your friends to your other friends and to have people all come together and form a community, because I think that's how you're going to meet new people. And then from there, like you meet the friends of friends of friends and you never know who you'll become close with and all of these things. Okay, so I think friends of friends is like a huge thing. Like second of all, I think like it's so important that, because like when you think of school or work, like obviously if you're thinking of like high school friends, that's different because like you grew up with them. But if you're thinking of like college friends, like for the most part, I mean, maybe people have friends that they were like met in the dorms or whatever, but I think a lot of us are friends with people that we met through like student organizations or like common interests or like our major, right? And so I ask you, why does that have to end in your 20s? Like you are in your 20s and you're still presumably exploring common interests. And if it's your job, like maybe you have a common interest of whatever the job is, but maybe not. I mean, I met like a really good friend working here in the Bay Area at a coffee shop that I worked at, and we have like very different like career interests, yet we still met at the workplace. But I think it's really important to do things, hobbies, or like things that you have common interests with others, right? Like, I think I brought this up in a past show. I just follow them on Instagram, so they're like constantly top of mind. But you know, like junk journaling, when you have like a blank journal and you kind of like scrapbook, but it's like used like scraps, like you would put like a movie receipt, or like I could put like my plane ticket from Italy, like the printed version or whatever. Like, you use quote unquote junk to like create like kind of this like scrapbooking layout. Anyway, so I don't know if they were the ones who coined like junk journaling, but there's this club in LA called the Junk Journal Club, and I follow them on Instagram because I love looking at all the like layouts and stuff. It's really cute, but they constantly have events, and like it looks like people are like socializing and meeting each other at these events and like crafting and coming together and doing these things. And I find that really cool because I think it's such a signifier of the way that we're all seeking community, and I think people are doing it in new ways because like I don't know if this is necessarily true or I'm just like like speaking out of my whatever, but like I think about how like people used to meet like drinking, and that was like a thing that you could do. Like, you could go out to a bar or go out to like a club or whatever and like drink and meet people. But I think people are like wanting more like, I don't know, interest to be out there rather than just drinking, and then not having to always drink when you meet people. So I feel like there's a lot more clubs. Like, think about it. When have running clubs ever been a thing? Like, there's running clubs, there's junk journaling. Like, I hate pickleball personally. Don't get me started, because what is pickleball? I hate that you have to win back your point. I find that so ridiculous. Like, just play tennis, okay? And they're transforming all the tennis courts into pickleball courts, and it's like, can't you find your own space? Like, whatever. But anyway, if you're into that, whatever, no judgment. But there are like pickleball clubs. I feel like there's tennis clubs. I was just thinking, because I really want to learn Italian, I feel like the best way to do so is to try to like speak it with people. I was just thinking I should see if there's like some sort of Italian club and try to like meet people. I wonder if there's like any weekly meetups. I think there's so many like opportunities and ways to meet people. I know people who are doing kickball, or I know people doing all these like other different like side quests and hobbies and activities, and they're meeting good people and fun people from it. And then if you're doing that, then you can bring some new friends to meet your old friends, and it's like a whole thing, and it's really fun. So yeah, I would say like friends of friends, and then doing hobbies or things with common interests. Because once again, I would argue that your friends from school are likely the ones that you were in clubs with. So why stop once you graduate, right? Last thing, and this is gonna sound like weird advice, but I'm not saying it in a weird way. But I think like when it comes to friendships, like you low-key have to be slightly, okay, pushy is like the wrong word, because I'm not trying to say like you have to be weird, but like I think like we can often be like, oh my God, I don't know what they think of me, I'll wait for them to reach out. But I think if you like someone, you should just like reach out to them. I don't know, like, for example, I have a friend that we made here in the Bay Area, and how did we even meet him? Oh my God. He's also a journalist, so I feel like maybe it was from Twitter or something. Oh my God, I don't know. But he met my husband first, and then me and him became friends too. And then he invited us over for breakfast one day, and his roommate was there, and then one of their friends was there. And like I loved that friend that was over too. I thought he was so great. And he and I like will message on Instagram about Ariana Grande, which like obviously is like immediate like friendship to me. And so I think maybe we had another hangout and like invited them all. And then like Jack was going to be in LA one weekend. This was like in October, and then I invited them all over for dinner, like my friend and then his roommate and then their friend. And so it's like, I feel like sometimes it can feel out of a comfort zone to be like, ooh, let me do the first reach out to someone and like make this happen. Like, I don't know, it can feel weird because you're like, wait, does this person like me? Like, I don't know. But I think you kind of have to just do it and invite people over and invite people to things and see what happens, because I think people want to be invited to things. I think people want to make friends. I think if you have a feeling about someone, they probably have the same feeling about you. So just follow it and put yourself out there. And it's kind of the same advice I would give to anyone trying to date, is put yourself out there. And I've definitely said this on this show before, of if you want to meet people, join a running club, join junk journaling, whatever it may be. But I feel the same about friendship. I think friendship and dating in the beginning stages really go hand in hand, where you're trying to put yourself out there and it can feel very awkward. But I think if you put yourself out there, you will meet people with commonalities. Again, whether it's friendship or whether it's dating, you just have to do it. Like there's no other way but just to do it. And I'll say this too, it's trial and error. Like I think like if you meet someone and you have some hangouts with them and you like them, but then you're like, you know what? I don't know. Maybe we don't get along as well as I thought we did. That's fine. I feel like that's totally okay. Like, I feel like not everyone has to be a lifelong best friend. I think there's a lot of beauty in those temporary connections with people. I think like, especially living in, on the East Coast, like, I mean, we have friends that like we still talk to, but I had a friend that I had a few hangouts with her and then we never hung out again. And that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, life gets busy, or it doesn't have to be for any sort of reason. But I think kind of, taking seriously the friendships that you want to keep coming back to and trusting your intuition, and it'll all fall into place. And I think any hangout is a good hangout and any friend is a good friend. It's just a matter of if you want to continue it deeply or not. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I think the biggest lessons here, the biggest notes I took are friends of friends, hobbies or common interests, and being low-key pushy. But again, I don't mean it in that way. I just mean putting yourself out there and not being uncomfortable with doing so. Okay, that was our first advice question. So again, if you want to ask another question, you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, we are going to get into our second question, but first let's take a little bit of a music break. I'll see y'all soon. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. The tide is high, but I am holding on. So you just listened to The Tide is High, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from NSYNC. And let me say it right now. My Christmas tree is up. But the fact of the matter is that the Christmas tree would have been up. Okay. We went to Italy mid-November. If we did not go on a trip this month, the Christmas tree would have been up estimated November 5th, November 6th. Absolutely. I grew up with the Christmas tree going up early and earlier because my dad loved to put it up early. As did I. I used to say when I had my own house growing up that I would have a Christmas tree year round, which I wouldn't mind per se, but ours is like a 6-foot like Amazon tree. I don't even know if it's Amazon. It might be what's that one store? Grocery Outlet. I think it's a Grocery Outlet tree, which somehow feels worse. But regardless, yeah, so, I know what I was literally just going to say. So we put up our tree over the weekend, and yes, the vibes are great. As I said, I'm going to watch Love Hard. I will be watching Moonstruck. I would like to watch Home Alone 2, but it is on Disney Plus, and no one has shared a password with me. So if anyone has a Disney Plus password, please feel free to send that my way. But I think the best Christmas albums for me, I grew up with the Beach Boys Christmas and I grew up with NSYNC Christmas. And so for me, if I'm listening to Christmas music, that's what I'm going to put on, okay? Yeah, and it's time for Christmas music. I'm not waiting until December 20th? No. I only get to listen to Christmas music for like 2 months tops. I'm starting now. 1 month. Oh my God. Yeah. So if you're not listening to Christmas music, that's a you problem. That's not us. Okay. So we have some advice questions to answer, for the rest of this show. So first one we will get into is, this person asked, How to not let trauma from past toxic relationships ruin good potential new ones. I don't want to scare this new person that I'm talking to because they feel like they could be end game material. Okay, well, first of all, I'm really excited for you. That's really exciting. I feel like it's really cool to be in the early stages of a relationship, to feel like you could see yourself ending up with this person. Savor it. You're in such a fun time. I'm so happy for you. But you ask, how to not let trauma from your past toxic relationships ruin this one in particular, right? Any of them in general, but this one is one that's top of mind, and maybe, I don't know, your end game, right? So this may be the only one. Okay. So first of all, I want to say that I don't think anything can necessarily scare the right person, right? So if this is someone that you see a future with and you get along really well, I feel like you should not be afraid to, again, I guess, tiptoe into it, stick your toe in the sense that, like, you trust yourself, you know what's comfortable with this relationship. But I think if you are far enough along with this person in the beginning stages, right? Like, so it's not first date, second date, like, you know each other, you're getting to know each other pretty well. I feel like if you feel comfortable, you should share this with them. Because I think, the right person, this would not scare away. I think it's different when maybe something affects, I shouldn't say affects, but when, like, this is obviously not the case if you're treating them poorly, but like if you have tendencies to, I don't know, be afraid or be anxious attachment or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Like, I think, and this person is someone you feel very comfortable with and you see a future with them, I think you should feel empowered and comfortable to tell them about it and tell them about your past relationships and how it affects you in relationships now. I think, I wrote in my notes, the right person, I keep saying it, but the right person won't be scared. Like, as long as you're honest and it's something that you're working on yourself, the right person will not be scared, will not, you say you don't want to scare this new person. I don't think they'll be scared. Again, I don't want to sound dismissive or like whatever, and I have no idea how this trauma impacts you in relationships, but I think the best thing we can do with people that we care about and see a future with is to be honest with them and open up to them. And I think you would be doing yourself and your relationship a disservice by not being open about your past relationships. I don't know your comfort level in sharing past relationships with people or sharing trauma with relationships in general, especially because of the past toxic relationships that you've had. But if you're looking for a sign to open up to this person, this is it. Like, I think you should. You know, you seem self-aware to be asking this question. You're saying that you have this trauma from your past relationships and you don't want it to ruin your current one. To me, that tells me maybe you're someone in therapy, or at least you're working through these sort of trauma that you're holding and that you have because of these past relationships. So I think you're on the right step, right? Get therapy. Talk through this with a therapist. Talk through this with a professional. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I wrote something that I'm confused what I meant by it. But the one note I'm talking about right now is get therapy. I don't know if you're in it or not, but you sound like you are based on how you talked about it, or at least you've had therapy before. Or at least you're kind of aware of what trauma is and what toxicity in a relationship is. But I think continue to have these conversations, whether it's with this new person or whether it's with a professional or whether it's with loved ones and friends and family. Have these conversations, because I think the best way to move forward with the people we care about, like this relationship that you're pursuing, is to be open and honest and bring your true authentic self to it. And I think you're taking the right steps. So I hope that's helpful. I really I know what I wrote, because I wrote new person is not the last person. And I was like, what does that mean? Am I trying to tell them that this new person is not going to work out? I could not understand it. Now I know what I'm saying. I wrote the new person is not the last person. So the person you are getting in a relationship with now is not the person, not the same as the person you got out of that toxic relationship with, right? So like in that relationship, I think if you have these sort of bad experiences in a relationship, I think it can be easy to expect that moving forward. You know, when you have trauma, you're like constantly like thinking that that's going to happen again. I mean, I feel that way with like losing a loved one. So like I can imagine it's a similar feeling for having a toxic relationship, that you're like constantly scared it's going to come up again. But remind yourself that this new person that you're dating is not the last person. Just because you've had toxicity in relationships in the past does not mean you will moving forward. Like you are not, that is not something that is on your, you know, like destiny card. Like that's not what's meant for you. You are like seeking out this new person probably because you're working through your trauma, and they are not like their past people. So remember that, again, the right person won't be scared. Work on yourself and get therapy and talk through this with people and talk through this with your new person, because I'm sure they're a great person and that they're nothing like your last one. So keep that in mind. I'm really excited for you. Seriously, I feel like it's so exciting. Like the beginning of a relationship is so exciting. I'm really happy for you. And yeah, I think you're taking all the right steps. I genuinely mean that. And so keep on. I don't know. Have oh my God, you guys should go ice skating. Like I feel like I've been trying to go ice skating. Anyway, okay, I'm getting outside the point. So this is Grief Support Group. You have just listened to our second advice question of the show, but we have an XL show this week. So we will be getting into one additional advice question, but first we're going to take a little bit of a music break, and I will see y'all soon. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Biscatelli. You just listened to On an Evening in Roma, and then Merry Christmas Baby, once again, the Beach Boys Christmas album. Yes, 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 that is childhood. Okay, side note also, before we get into our final advice question, is that do y'all crave Panera during the holidays? Like, there's something, oh my God, why did I kind of get chills? I don't know why. I'm sorry. I need my coffee. I don't know what's going on. I'm running on like a 5-hour nap and then like 4 hours of sleep. Anyway, no, there's something about Panera during the holidays. Like the thought of, I feel like they have a really good sandwich. I think it's the Mediterranean sandwich, and perhaps like a broccoli cheddar soup or maybe a tomato soup, a side of baguette, a cookie or a brownie. It certainly has to be one of them. Not one of the lemonades that was like really dangerous and deadly. I would never do that. But yeah, it does sound really appealing to me. I think I might have to get it today. Okay. So if you're, I don't know, I'm not gonna sponsor me first and then we'll talk Panera. Okay. So we're going to get into our final advice question of today's wonderful, amazing, long holiday special. I could keep talking, and I had so many more songs to share, and unfortunately, yeah, whatever, it's fine. We'll do longer shows, I think, in the future, but today we're going to answer our third advice question, and this person said, how can I address my past traumas as a child if the parent who caused them denies it today? Okay. First of all, that's very, very hard, and I'm really sorry that you have to deal with that. Again, same with the last question. I assume based on kind of the way you're talking about it, this maybe is something that either you've been thinking a lot about, or maybe it has come up in therapy, and perhaps you had tried to have a conversation with this parent and they were denying it, even though you were starting to like do this work and kind of unpack the trauma and the traumatic experience that you had as a kid. So I think I kind of wrote this down. Again, I feel like you are on this path already, but I'll reiterate it just to reiterate it and maybe if anyone else, I don't know, needs this advice. But I think therapy and a desire to address the traumas are the most important things, right? And I don't mean address the traumas with people around you. I mean address the traumas within yourself. I think like it can be difficult because I think we oftentimes, because community is so important, or we do therapy with another person, right? Like with the therapist, like I think we can often think we need other people to like go down this journey. So when this parent is the one that caused the trauma, it can feel like, oh, I'll get closure, or I'll at least begin to kind of address it if I can talk to them about it. And they can admit what it was like for me, or whatever the case may be. But I don't think this sort of work on oneself can rely on others. I had previously discussed this on a previous episode, but I want to discuss it here again because it feels very relevant, how I feel like closure is a myth. And it's not entirely related, but like hear me out for a second. Like I think when we end a relationship, a romantic relationship, we want closure, right? Like, especially if the person broke up with us. I mean, I've been there. Like, you want to have a conversation with this person. You want to know why. And sometimes there is a why, but sometimes or oftentimes I should say, there's not. And I think like when it comes to, like work you're doing in therapy and trying to heal after the death of a loved one, or, some other traumatic event where there's death involved, like you're not really able to get closure ever from that other person. And that's something you have to sort of grapple with and work through on your own. Because how could how could we ever heal ourselves if it's reliant on others? Because again, death, you don't get those answers. But if it's someone here on earth, like not everyone's a reliable source. And it sounds like your parent is not a reliable source. So I don't think any work on oneself relies on others. And I know it can feel that way because this is a parent and this is someone you trust. This is the person who raised you. This is someone you trust. And this is someone that, maybe their opinion is important to you, or, like it sounds like maybe you still have a relationship with them, but there's trauma there. I think that instinct to want to bring them into this journey and get like a closure on how they treated you in childhood is very present, I'm sure. But I think like other traumatic things to address, I don't think you'll ever get what you need from them. And it's hard to say, and it's probably hard to hear, but I think the work you're doing, which again, I don't know if you're in therapy, but you at least have that desire to address the traumas that you've experienced and kind of work through that. I think there's that huge inclination to want to get those answers. But I think as soon as it's not about them necessarily, but it's like your own thing you have to work on, I think that will help you move forward. And if that looks like, maybe that looks like boundaries with this person, with this parent, or, I don't know how close you are. It sounds like you talk to them at least. I think, and it doesn't even have to, I'm not even talking about a boundary that you assert with them, but I'm saying like your own personal boundary that you're like, I don't want to talk about this with them because I don't want to hear them deny it again, or whatever it may be. I think you need to, in your own mind, have your sort of like boundaries that you don't want to cross, if you want to keep a relationship with this person. And, like trusting yourself to understand the trauma from your own lens. And if you're understanding the trauma from your own lens, like the healing can only come from your own lens. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not on my A game today on my advice. I can't lie, because I feel like I really need my 2 shots of espresso. But I hope that's helpful. I think a lot of y'all who are asking these questions, like, I think you are asking them because they are on your mind and you are either in the beginning stages or like trying to work through this trauma in whatever capacity. And so I think you're on the right path. And I think that can be really hard to not feel like, it's like, damn, can someone just acknowledge like what I'm feeling, you know? But I think like what you're going through like needs to be kind of on your own. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. And I wish you all kind of the luck and the good vibes with it. Like, I think you are on the right track. And I think you will work through this and you will find a solution that works for you. And if that means not bringing it up again with this parent, and knowing that you know what's right, like, you know what trauma you have as a result of your parent, trust that and trust yourself. Okay, I hope that was helpful. If anyone has any other advice they want to ask for a future episode, you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. I can't believe it. This was the Italia and Thanksgiving special. I'm gonna leave you with a few songs, but this has been such a great episode. I wish you all a wonderful rest of the month. I don't know, because I'll be back December. I'll miss you. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. I need my Panera. Okay. I need my Panera. I'll leave you off with some songs, but have a restful rest of the week, and I will see you all in December. Bye.